The moment I heard her say the words, I froze. I had one foot still inside the shop door, arms full of socket wrenches, coolant, and a couple of gas station sandwiches. I came back early from a parts run, thinking I'd surprise Layla with her favorite beef jerky and that new chili lime soda she loved. The shop smelled like oil and old rubber, same as always, but the sound of her voice stopped me cold. Yeah, I'm done with him. He's a temporary ride, not the destination. That's what she said. Clear as hell. She was on speakerphone, her voice bouncing off the cinder block walls like a hammer to the head. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. She laughed. No, I haven't told him yet. But Joel's getting me in front of producers next week. There's no point pretending anymore. I stepped back slowly, making sure my boots didn't squeak on the concrete. My heart was thudding like I'd just sprinted uphill, but my body was dead still. She kept talking. Mom, come on. You know I've outgrown this place. Cameron's a decent pit stop, but Joel's the one with vision. He's launching me into TV. Real stuff. Her mother's voice came through, loud and nasal. You've done your time in that garage with that blue-collar sweetheart. Now it's time for the real world, honey. They both laughed. I didn't drop the bags. Didn't make a noise. I just backed out of the shop like a ghost, still holding that damn chili lime soda. I got into my truck and shut the door quietly. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the gravel lot. My hands were shaking. I stared at the dent in the dashboard I'd been meaning to fix and didn't feel anything but cold. Uncle George's words came back to me out of nowhere, like he was in the seat next to me again. Wait, don't rush. The world opens up when you move with purpose. That old bastard always knew when to speak up, even after he was gone. I put the truck in reverse and eased out of the lot without looking back at the garage. Not that day. Not with her voice still echoing in my ears. Next stop wasn't a fight. It wasn't drama. It was clarity, and I knew exactly what to do next. Next morning, I was in the kitchen by 6. Pan sizzling. 2 eggs over easy, coffee already brewing. Like it was any other Sunday. I even tossed her English muffin in the toaster. Layla patted in, half awake, hair tied up, wearing that oversized sleep shirt with the faded beach print. She stopped dead in the doorway when she saw me. I didn't look up, just flipped the eggs. You're up early, she said. Wanted to get a head start. I replied, voice calm, steady. Busy day at the shop. She hovered by the counter, eyes twitching like she was searching for a script she hadn't memorized. Cameron, I need to talk to you about something. I plated the food, poured the coffee, then finally looked at her. You're leaving. She blinked. What? I already know, I said. No need to explain. That knocked her off balance. I could see it in the way her jaw locked up for half a second. She recovered fast. Layla always had quick feet when the ground shifted. Well, I was hoping we could be civil about it, she said, wrapping her arms around herself like that made her look smaller, more innocent. I took a slow sip of coffee. Sure. Civil's fine. Good. She nodded like she was in control again. I just think we've both grown in different directions. I don't want to drag this out or make it messy. I'll make it easy for you, I said. You can keep the house, the car, even the mutt. I just want my tools and everything from the garage. She looked at me, trying to read if I was bluffing. Her lips parted, probably ready to push back. Then she stopped. That's more than fair, she said. I shrugged. It's not charity. Just not interested in dragging this through the mud. You've clearly got places to be. Her eyes flickered, that smug little glint slipping through like a crack in drywall. She thought she'd won. Thought I was folding. I appreciate that, Cameron. I really do. She even smiled a little, the kind of smile you give someone after they hand you a gift you didn't earn. I finished my eggs, stood up, carried my plate to the sink. Her coffee sat untouched on the counter. You don't have to move out right away, she said behind me. We can figure out logistics later. I'll be gone by the end of the week. That landed harder than she expected. Her mouth opened, like she wanted to argue, but I didn't give her the room. You got nothing to worry about, I added. No drama. No scenes. Just give me space to grab my stuff, and we're good. Okay, she said quietly. I turned around and looked her dead in the eyes. And Layla, don't pretend you're doing me a favor. I'm letting go because I want to, not because you asked. That shut her up for good. I grabbed my keys off the hook by the door, walked past her, and stepped out into the morning air. The sun was barely up, sky still streaked with that early pink haze. I stood there a second, breathing it in. First real breath I'd taken in months. Maybe longer. I heard the front door close behind me. And just like that, a weight dropped off my back I didn't even know I was carrying. That garage, those tools, those were mine before she was ever in the picture. She could keep the tile floors and wine fridge. I needed torque wrenches and grease-stained benches. Let her play house with Joel, or whoever. I was done playing anything. I got in the truck and drove to the shop. Not to sulk, not to think, just to work. By Friday, I had the van loaded. No ceremony, no goodbye speech. Just a quiet haul of my tools, a couple boxes of clothes, and whatever the hell else I could fit without catching her attention. I told everyone I was crashing at my cousin Danny's place. Technically not a lie. We played poker there once a week. But my real address was 20 minutes out, tucked behind the hills by the old quarry. It was our family trailer. One bed, rusted siding, warped porch steps, and a hot water heater that coughed before it worked. But it was mine. I let the beard grow out. Dug up my old work shirts, the faded ones, grease-stained from years ago when I still turned wrenches full-time. Drove a beater van that wheezed every time I hit the gas. No one looked twice at me anymore, which was exactly what I wanted. The days started early. Coffee boiled over a little propane stove, morning air biting cold through the busted window seal. Then I'd hit the shop. Not managing, not answering Layla's calls about photographers or scheduling her social crap. Just fixing busted engines and helping customers who actually gave a damn. People started to notice. "Everything good, Cam?" Miguel asked one morning, wiping his hands on a rag, eyes lingering just a little too long. "Never better," I said, tightening a belt on a Civic with a busted water pump. He didn't push. Neither did the others. But I could feel it. That quiet sympathy people offer when they see a man rebuilding something from rubble. Even customers picked up on it. "You look different," one older guy said while I changed out his alternator. "Probably the beard," I muttered. But it wasn't just the beard. It was the weight that had peeled off my shoulders, layer by damn layer. A couple weeks in, I stopped by a discount parts store off the bypass. I needed a distributor cap and a new pair of gloves. I was in the aisle comparing brands when I heard her voice behind me. "Cameron." I turned. Layla stood there in leggings and a designer hoodie, sunglasses pushed up into her hair. She looked me up and down like she couldn't tell if it was really me or just someone familiar. "Didn't recognize you," she said slowly. "Guess that makes two of us," I replied. Her jaw twitched. "Didn't expect to see you here." I picked up my gloves. "This is where I get my parts. Not everything has a showroom." She opened her mouth to say something else, but didn't. Just nodded and walked off. That night, I got a text. "Layla, are you okay financially? Do you need anything?" I stared at it. Thumb hovered over the keyboard. Then I locked the screen and tossed the phone on the passenger seat. She didn't get to play concerned now. Not after calling me a damn pit stop. Back at the shop, I stopped shaving completely. Wore a ball cap most days, kept to the lifts and toolboxes. I started teaching the younger techs again, showing them the old-school way to rethread a stripped bolt or how to reset a stubborn sensor. No cameras, no forced smiles, just work that mattered. Every night, I'd drive back to that trailer, crack open a beer, sit on the steps, and stare at the quarry water under the stars. It wasn't pretty, but it was clean. It was real. And for the first time in a long while, so was I. The conference room smelled like lemon polish and cheap coffee. One of those corporate offices with fake plants in the corners and furniture too modern to be comfortable. I sat down across from Layla and her new prize, Joel. He had on some navy sport coat like he thought he was somebody, sunglasses hanging from the collar like it was L.A. instead of suburban North Carolina. Layla looked perfect as always. Makeup sharp, hair curled, dress a little too sleek for a divorce meeting. Her lawyer sat between them, some high-dollar type in a charcoal suit with a silver pin and a face that said he charged by the eyebrow raise. I didn't bother dressing up. Wore my flannel, boots, and the same jeans I'd been wrenching in yesterday. Let them see exactly who they left behind. The lawyer slid a thick folder across the table toward me. "Here's the proposed division of assets. As agreed, Miss Parker will retain the home, the vehicle, the pet, and household furnishings. There's an option to negotiate alimony based on your financial status." "No alimony," I said flat. He blinked. "You're declining spousal support?" "I don't want anything. House, car, whatever. Let her keep it." Layla and Joel exchanged a look. Not shocked, but definitely caught off guard. I didn't even give them time to speak. I just want what's already mine. The shop tools. The garage equipment. That's it. The lawyer cleared his throat and adjusted his glasses. Well, that simplifies things. However, before we finalize, there's a clause we'd like to add. It relates to potential claims on Miss Parker's future income. Given your prior financial entanglements, we'd like to ensure no retroactive. Put whatever you want, I said, picking up the pen. I'm not coming after anything. I signed. Quick. No drama. No questions. Joel leaned back, arms crossed like he didn't believe it. Layla's voice broke the silence. Cam, you're really okay with this? I stood up. I was okay the moment you called me a pit stop. The lawyer twitched, probably not expecting that kind of line mid-meeting. Joel shifted in his chair. I think we're done here, I said. They didn't argue. As I stepped into the hallway, Layla followed. He stayed behind. She caught up to me by the elevator. Wait. I didn't stop walking. Cameron, I didn't mean to hurt you, she said quietly. I hit the down button. You just didn't care enough not to, I said. The doors opened. I stepped in. She didn't follow. Didn't say a word. By the time the elevator hit the ground floor, I'd already deleted her number from my phone. Clean slate. Paper signed. Face to face. No more illusions. I walked out of that building lighter than I'd felt in years. The sun was high, hot on the pavement. Traffic buzzed. A breeze kicked some dust across the sidewalk. I had nothing left to give her, and nothing she could take from me. The next morning, I drove 2 hours north into farm country, past miles of soybean fields and peeling barns, until I reached a small credit union building tucked behind a feed store. Gravel crunched under the tires of my van as I pulled into the lot. Waiting on the bench out front was a tall man in a dark denim jacket and khakis, silver hair tied back in a low ponytail. He stood when he saw me, extended a hand. Name's Richard Holloway, he said. I was George's attorney and his best friend, depending on the day. I shook his hand. Cameron Blake. He looked me square in the eye and said, No, not today. Today, you're Cameron Dalton. We didn't talk much as he led me inside. The place looked more like a storage branch than a bank. Linoleum floors, sun-faded posters about checking accounts, a single clerk behind a scratch counter. Richard flashed a card and a code to the woman, and she pointed toward a steel door in the back. He opened it, and we stepped into a small records vault. He scanned the shelves until he pulled out a thick manila envelope with a faded blue Dalton Racing sticker across the front. This file's been sitting here for 12 years, he said. Per George's instructions, it only opens after your divorce was finalized, and only if you were the one who walked away. He handed it to me. My hands weren't shaking, but something in my chest shifted when I cracked the seal and saw the name. Cameron Alexander Dalton, in thick, typed letters. Birth certificate, corporate shares, property deeds, business transfer forms. It was all there. You're the last one, Richard said. George had you change your name after your dad went bankrupt. Too many vultures, too much press. He wanted to keep your hands clean until the time was right. I flipped through document after document. Ownership in 3 auto parts warehouses, partial stake in a semi-pro racing franchise, and full rights to Dalton Restoration, a classic car business with 2 locations and a long wait list of rich clients. I leaned against the wall. Richard pulled something else from the envelope, a small square box with a key inside and a folded note. The handwriting was all too familiar. Cameron, you never chased money. That's why you'll know how to use it. Now it's yours. Build something that lasts. George, I didn't say anything for a minute. You okay? Richard asked. I thought I was just a mechanic, I said. He gave a soft laugh. You still are? But now you own the damn tools. We stepped out into the light, and I squinted against the sun. Felt different now, sharper somehow. Like the road ahead was finally visible. What's this key for? I asked, holding it up. Richard smiled. George's personal garage. Out by the river. I've got the address. He handed me a folded paper with directions. Everything's in your name now, but there's one condition. George was firm. If you ever remarry, the trust locks up for 7 years. That includes any financial access. He didn't want the Dalton name being used by someone chasing a last name. I smirked. That man really thought ahead. Richard nodded. He also said you'd understand why once it happened. I did. I understood it the minute Layla said I was just a ride. I left the credit union with the envelope under my arm and the key burning a hole in my front pocket. I didn't feel rich. I felt focused. There was work to do, and this time, I wasn't asking permission. 2 days later, I was under a 67 Firebird with oil dripping down my forearm when my phone started vibrating like it was having a seizure. I wiped my hands on a rag and pulled it from my back pocket. 6 missed calls. 10 texts. Voicemail full. The hell? Then Miguel came jogging into the garage, holding his phone up like it was breaking news. Dude, he said, half out of breath, you've seen this? He shoved the screen in my face. It was the online front page of Piedmont Roads Monthly, a glossy little magazine that normally wrote about overpriced brunch spots and historic bridges. Cameron Dalton takes over multi-state restoration empire. Right there under the headline was an old photo of me and Uncle George at a car show in Charlotte. I was probably 20, wearing a Dalton racing cap and a grin, the kind I hadn't worn in years. I stared at it, stunned for half a second. Then the phone started ringing again. Unknown number. Then another. Local area code. Text after text after text. Is this you? Wait, you're a Dalton? Dude, this is wild. I dropped the phone on the workbench. Back to work, I said. Magazine or not, this alternator's still shot. The guys didn't press me, but the looks were obvious, half impressed, half confused. Nobody had seen it coming. Around noon, I stepped outside for some air. Checked my phone again, and there it was. Layla. The name lit up the screen like a fire alarm. I let it ring the first time, then the second. Third time, I answered. Her voice cracked right in. Cameron. Dalton. Yeah, I said. You never told me. You weren't listening. Silence. A long one. I could almost hear her blinking, processing. I didn't even know who you were, she finally said. No, Layla. You didn't care who I was. That's the difference. She exhaled sharply, caught off guard like the air had just been pulled out of her. I want to talk. Just meet for a few minutes. Somewhere public. Nothing crazy. I thought about it. Not out of curiosity. Just to put a period on the sentence. Fine. Pick a diner. Middle of the day. Keep it short. I'll text you, she said quickly, before I could change my mind. I hung up. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't need to. I looked out across the lot, heat rising off the pavement, and thought of George's note. Build something that lasts. I wasn't there yet, but I damn sure wasn't stuck in the past anymore. She picked the diner just off I-85, the one with the faded red awning and that busted neon sign that flickered dine when the wind hit just right. I pulled in 5 minutes early, parked out back near the dumpster, and walked in through the side door like I'd done 100 times over the years. The air smelled like burnt bacon and bleach. Booths were half full. Truckers, retirees, a couple college kids nursing coffees. Then I saw her. Layla sat in the far booth, back to the wall. Big sunglasses on the table, hair blown out perfect, fresh tan, glossy lips. She'd gone full glam, but tried to dress it down with a denim jacket and a white tank top. I slid into the booth across from her. Didn't smile. Didn't offer a hug. Hey, she said, like we were old friends. Talk. She hesitated, smiled nervously. You look different. Figured that's why we're here. She nodded, picking at a straw wrapper. I wanted to say I'm sorry. About everything. I didn't blink. Joel was a mistake, she said. He talked big, promised things, made it sound like my career was going to blow up. And it didn't. He bailed last month. Said I was too much work. I raised an eyebrow. That's ironic. She laughed, light, forced. Yeah, guess it is. The waitress came by. I ordered black coffee. Layla asked for tea, then immediately changed it to iced water, like she couldn't decide who she was supposed to be. I was confused, Cam, she said once the waitress walked off. Everything just got so complicated. The social media stuff, the pressure to be someone. You were already someone, I said. You just didn't want to be her. She paused, folding her napkin into tiny triangles. I regret it, okay? I regret how I handled everything. What I said, the way I left. She reached across the table. Her hand landed halfway, fingers open, palm up. I didn't move. She kept it there. I never stopped loving you. I leaned back. You wanted more. Turns out, I was always more. You just didn't see it. Her eyes filled, but no tears fell. She wasn't a crier, not unless cameras were involved. I was stupid, she whispered. I thought you were just the guy at the shop. I didn't know you were. That's the point. I cut her off. You never cared to know. You saw what I had, not who I was. She flinched like I'd slapped her. Is there, she started, voice cracking. Any chance we could try again? Start over? I stood up. She blinked up at me. Cam. I dropped a 5 on the table for the coffee. No drama, I said, just loud enough for her to hear. That was the deal. I walked past the counter, out the door, and into the sunlight. Didn't look back. Didn't check if she was crying. Didn't need to. I climbed into the van, turned the key, and drove off toward the shop. The truth was, she had her shot, and she threw it away chasing something shinier. Only now she was realizing I wasn't a stepping stone. I was the whole damn road. 2 days later, I got the call at lunchtime. Blocked number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. This is Cameron, I said, wiping grease off my fingers with a rag. Mr. Blake. Excuse me, Mr. Dalton. This is Evan Myers, legal representative for Ms. Layla Parker. I smirked. All right, Evan. What's she digging for now? There's concern that your divorce agreement may have omitted material assets. Specifically, we've been made aware of a trust connected to the Dalton estate. Ms. Parker believes she may be entitled to compensation or renegotiation under full financial disclosure. Yeah, not happening. Silence. The trust was activated after the divorce was finalized, I said. It's protected. You can't go after something I didn't have at the time of the split. Hell, George designed it that way on purpose. More silence. Then he cleared his throat. So you intentionally waived claim to all shared assets, anticipating this trust would activate. I chuckled. I didn't waive anything. I just gave her everything she asked for. She thought she was winning. I just walked away clean. He didn't say a word, but I could hear the weight dropping in his head. He knew. This was a strategic move, he asked, voice low. No, Evan. It was Mercy. She called me a pit stop. I handed her the keys and walked. That trust? That was never hers to lose. Click. Call ended. I dropped the rag on the bench and went back to work. That night, my phone lit up again. This time it was her. Layla, you conned me. I stared at the screen for half a beat. Didn't bother typing. Didn't even tap the reply button. Instead, I turned off the ringer, poured myself a 2-finger bourbon, and walked out to George's private garage behind the workshop. The place smelled like leather, dust, and motor oil. His old collection lined the back wall. Chevelle, GTO, Shelby GT350, all in various stages of restoration. On the workbench sat the key he left me, next to a blueprint tube and a sealed envelope marked program. I opened it. Inside were sketches and notes for a mentorship program, George's idea of legacy. A way to take kids who couldn't afford college or who'd been written off and give them tools, training, and real careers in restoration. The last line of his handwriting stuck with me. Give him the wrench, not the handout. I looked around the garage, took a long sip of bourbon, and nodded to no one in particular. Yeah, that felt right. Let her swing. Let her throw tantrums and text threats, and try to claw her way back. I wasn't looking behind me. I was building forward, louder, faster, stronger than before. The ballroom at the Civic Center smelled like new carpet and catered shrimp. Rows of white linen tables filled the space, centerpieces lit with soft LED candles, and a blue banner hung above the stage. Dalton Foundation fundraiser for trade mentorship. I stood near the back entrance for a minute, letting the air settle. The suit felt stiff on my shoulders, charcoal gray, tailored a week ago, freshly pressed. Beard gone, hair trimmed. When I walked in, people turned. Some recognized me. Some just sensed I didn't belong in a suit and tie. Either way, I didn't flinch. I made my rounds, shook hands, thanked donors, talked to the board about the pilot program we'd launched that spring. 3 kids already placed in real apprenticeships. Then they called me to the stage. I stepped up to the mic, straightened my tie, and looked out over a room full of polite interest. I'm Cameron Dalton, I said, voice clear. A couple years ago, I was under a Dodge Charger with no real plan, but getting through the next job. My uncle, George, used to say we fix things not because they're broken, but because that's what we do. Some heads nodded. Tonight, we're not just raising money. We're rebuilding futures. We're giving second chances to people who just need a shot and the tools to take it. Brief applause. That's all I needed. I stepped down, handed the mic off to a coordinator, and made my way back toward the bar. That's when I saw her. Layla. She stood by the dessert table, gold dress way too shiny for this event, heels clicking like gunshots on the marble floor. She wasn't on the list, I knew that for a fact. But somehow she got in. She locked eyes with me and made a beeline over. Wow, she said, fake smile glued on. Look at you, Mr. Foundation. I stayed cool. You weren't invited. Doesn't matter, she said, voice low. I wanted to see the show. And damn, you really sold it, huh? Sold what? I asked. The whole humble mechanic thing. Turns out you were loaded the whole time. You let me walk away like it meant nothing. I looked at her, straight through the mascara and bitterness. You walked away from me. I just let you keep walking. That hit her. She tried to hold her ground, but I saw the crack. You played me, she snapped, voice rising. You manipulated everything. You knew how it would end. I knew how you would end, I said flat. People nearby started looking over. Conversations dipped. The air shifted. She stepped in closer. You think all this makes you better than me now? No, I said. But it sure makes me glad I'm not still with you. A hand tapped my shoulder. Security. Sir, is she with your party? I shook my head once. She's not. Layla turned red, eyes darting around as the staff gently stepped in beside her. You don't have to make a scene, one of them said softly. Too late for that. I hope this all burns down. She hissed at me as they guided her toward the exit. You're still just a garage boy with a new coat of paint. I didn't even blink. Guests murmured as she disappeared through the side doors. A couple people asked if everything was all right. All good, I said, adjusting my cuff. Just a bit of noise from the past. Then I walked straight over to the table with the corporate donors and picked up right where I left off. No stutter. No shake. I'd already survived her storm. Now I was building in peace. A week after the gala, a plain envelope showed up at the shop. No return address. Just my name, written in Layla's familiar cursive. I took it to the back office, shut the door, and opened it slowly. Inside was a single page, handwritten in black ink. Cameron, Joel's gone. Said I was too much baggage. My mom won't even call me back. I guess I burned every bridge trying to chase a dream that wasn't even mine. I was wrong about you. All this time, I thought I needed someone with flash and power. Truth is, I had the real thing and let it slip through my hands. You didn't lie to me. I just never bothered to look deeper. I saw a man in a garage and thought that was all you were. I get it now. You were always more. And I never deserved any of it. I'm sorry. For all of it. Layla. I stared at the letter for a minute, then folded it once and walked out to the storage shed behind George's private garage. The old metal locker was still there, rusted corners, dented door. I opened it up, pushed past the loose manuals and broken drill bits, and filed her letter in a folder I'd labeled lessons. Then I shut it and didn't look back. That night, the garage filled with noise, good noise. 6 kids from the program showed up, fresh coveralls, hands ready, eyes wide. I split them into pairs and gave each group an engine block to break down. They started slow, nervous to touch anything. But within minutes, the air filled with laughter, tools clanking, curses flying when someone busted a knuckle or stripped a bolt. One kid held up a socket wrench like it was a trophy. Mr. D, this thing's heavy as hell. I grinned. That's how you know it's the real deal. I leaned against the workbench, arms crossed, just watching. Not thinking about Layla. Not thinking about the past. Just the sound of a wrench turning under clean lights. Exactly where I was supposed to be.